Well, Reverend Dr. Bill, when you were just telling me about the fact that people in mainland China are moving to the cities and their salaries are starting to increase, that things might be a little different with all those slave labor outsource jobs that have been sent there. It just reminds me of the fact that if the greedy corporations in America, the greedy corporate American CEOs, do not have mainland China to outsource everything to, and they run out of countries, where the hell are they going to outsource labor? To Antarctica so the penguins can do the work?
That's what they're doing right now. They're getting countries to fight amongst themselves. Now they outsource to Bangladesh or Singapore or some other lower wage country.
Yeah, but how many people? How many people?
Race to the bottom.
How many bodies? How many workable bodies are in Bangladesh compared to, China, India? What they're used to.
They seem to never run out. Of the possibilities.
Eventually, as the world's labor force smartens up, they're going to run out of countries. The greedy bastards in representing corporate America.
Well, why don't we run out of the greedy bastards who represent corporate America instead of waiting around for them to run out themselves?
And you know how you run out of greedy corporate bastards? You
You
don't
revoke their charters.
And you do not give any of them bailouts and subsidies. No tax dollars.
Bailouts. You take them over. You break them up.
Welfare for the rich.
You put them into bankruptcy, receivership, whatever. They must be. When you got an incorporation, in the old days, it had to be for the benefit of the people.
In other words, you regulate them the way FDR originally did.
That magic word, regulation. That word that is disdained by Republicans.
Isn't regulation of corporations similar to a good parents disciplining their naughty child?
It is spanking them when they're bad.
And
we don't have any of that.
And praising them when they're good.
Well, they should be good all the time. Why,
Corporations should be good.
That's what their charters are for.
Corporations should be good.
That's what their charters say. They swear to it when they get their charter. But no states revoke their charters.
Well, the James P. Madonna, which is yours truly, my way of dealing with greedy corporations that outsource American jobs is to tariff the hell out of their products when they come back to the United States. Since a Democrat that ran and lost, I think the first time to G.W. Bush, who was that? Senator from Massachusetts?
Mr. Gore.
No, or the second. I'm sorry, the second.
Mr. Kerry. John Kerry.
It was John Kerry said that if I get elected, unfortunately, I won't be able to prevent outsourcing of jobs. Well, what he should have said was, I have a solution. Tariff the hell out of their products. But he didn't say it.
It's easier to prevent them from doing it.
How do you prevent?
Oh, we're not interested in how right now. Because nobody's doing it.
Well, if they know they're going to get tariffed to the high heavens, then they won't do it.
Not enough to do it. Every country, every developing country, every country to develop must think of its own people first.
Exactly.
So if you're a corporation, you provide jobs for people in your own country first. You build you take care of your economy in that country first.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
If you're selling whatever you're selling. You got a big market here. Why don't you sell to the market here instead of getting your stuff made overseas and bringing them back here to sell to that same market?
Yeah. Makes
Doesn't
sense.
sound right, does it?
Yeah.
Hmm?
Yeah.
It isn't right.
No, it's not right at all.
That's how the economy is developed. And the economy is developed when you take care of your people in your economy first. Then if you have the leftover product and you wish to expand overseas your market, hey, go right ahead. But you know what it is?
What?
We don't have a market overseas. We are the market. We buy everything. That's why we have a trade imbalance. Because we are the market. And nobody buys our crap overseas. Every trade treaty that's ever made is not made because look what George Bush did when he went over to India. We'll sell you nuclear secrets for your, what are those fruits? Not the
Mangoes?
Mangoes. Yes, mangoes. You sell us your mangoes, and we'll sell you nuclear secrets.
No papayas or bananas?
No.
That's a hell of a lot of mangoes.
Yeah.
To equal the nuclear secrets.
And don't we grow mangoes here in the United States?
Well, yeah.
Then what the hell do we need to import mangoes from India?
Because maybe they want, companies in the United States want everything done dirt cheap. Maybe they don't want to pay. They talk about...
Maybe it's because the trade deals are not in our favor. They never have been.
I mean,
they are to subsidize the rest of the world.
You know what's funny? Republicans are constantly talking about creating jobs in the United States, but they're the first person...
Name me one job they created.
But they're the first person to agree on outsourcing American jobs.
Because it's all a lie. It's all propaganda. They have never created. Not one net job was created under G.W. Bush in the 8 years.
I know you said that last week.
I continue to say it because obviously a lot of people are not listening.
You got all Republicans recite the same mumbo jumbo. Job
and people
creation.
believe it.
Don't tax the corporations. Don't punish the corporations. They are the job creators. We have to bring back jobs in the United States. But they're the first to outsource your jobs.
And lower their taxes. Why, 60% of corporations today are not paying any taxes.
Yeah, and of course
How much lower you want them?
Of course you get a...
How low can you go?
How low can you go? Of course you get these flamers on the internet. These, I don't even know if they're in a high tax bracket. These Tea Party ass kissers telling me that the 1% is paying the tax burden in this country, which is a lie, and they continue to recite this lie over and over to try to stir up trouble, get under my skin, push my buttons. Now, or maybe they really believe the Republican lies.
But that's not the issue. The issue is, very simply, 1913 income tax amendment to the Constitution states very clearly, I'm paraphrasing now, he who has the money pays the taxes.
It's only fair. It's only fair, right?
So if you're making a lot of money, gee whiz, you'll pay a lot of taxes.
And if you don't want to
And
pay,
today, of course, they're not paying a lot of taxes.
and if
They ain't paying 74%.
No.
They ain't paying 91%. They're paying, well, Mr. Romney's paying 14%.
and if you don't like paying all those taxes, simply
Don't make enough money.
don't make that much money. Don't make
Very
that
simple.
much money. It's that easy.
But however, there's
Yeah.
a problem. You see what happened in Wisconsin with Mr. Scott Walker.
Yeah, they got Walker. We got Christie here in New Jersey.
Yes, but who eventually voted for Walker?
The idiots that live in Wisconsin,
Well, yes, the
the
idiots
cheeseheads.
who voted against their own self-interest. What's the matter with Kansas?
Do you think these?
There were 38% of people who voted for Scott Walker, Mr. Union Buster. 38% of the voters for him were from union families.
Hey,
What does that suggest to you?
Americans are insane.
Those voters were.
Maybe, just maybe, these people that vote Republican out west and down south, maybe they are so obsessed, fanatically obsessed with their cultist, phony, counterfeit Christianity and the phony family values that they completely block out the
God.
economic.
Guns and gays.
And the bigotry, and racism, they completely block out the economic drawbacks to voting for a Republican for the mainstream, and because they're so obsessed by their crazy cult that they have out there.
Yeah, their cult is called Christianity.
Oh, it is.
Yes, it is.
But how come what they believe in is not necessarily in the Bible?
That's what I just said. Their cult is Christianity. It's not in the Bible. It's not Christianity. I was being satirical.
Oh, okay. Yeah, the right wing.
They are counterfeit Christians.
We're talking about the right wing zealot fundamentalists that vote Republican.
Sellouts.
Sellouts. Zealots. Sellouts.
Yeah.
That vote Republican because of their cult. And that's it. That's all they care about. They can care less about food on the table or on a roof over their head, and how many American jobs are staying in America. They don't think of that.
Oh.
They just think about their crazy, loco, nutty religiosity and that unproven theology that comes out of the mouths of rethug lacans. Oh, gee, I'm sorry. I didn't know we were on the air. Here I'm talking with my my co-host, and I didn't even realize it. I didn't formally introduce ourselves. It is Saturday, July the 21st, correct? 2012. Welcome to Progressive Discussions. This is Progressive Discussions, coming to you live and, of course, pre-recorded from the Newsletter Censored Research Center in Northeastern New Jersey. It is still the lazy, hazy, crazy days of summer. Hot fun in the summertime. Hot fun in the summertime. Remember that? Anyway, I am your host, James P. Madonna, and I am here with my co-host and mentor, and the founder of Newsletter Censored in 1977. Let me formally introduce him properly. He is definitely the captain of our ship here at Newsletter Censored and Mega Life 21. I will introduce in our new formal way. the one and only, the Reverend Dr. William J. Eisenman. How are you today, sir?
I'm fine. I'm preparing to board the Gorn ship.
That's right, from Star Trek, the captain of the Gorn ship. But he doesn't look like a Gorn. He actually has nice features. All right? I piped you aboard. Arr! I haven't used the bosun's whistle in many years. So the first time I used it last week, I was a little bit rusty. But I made sure I hit that high pitch this time. Before we begin with the articles, okay, for those of you that are unfamiliar with progressive discussions, it is simply, we don't represent any political party or political agenda per se. We represent the plain, cold, hard-hitting truths of life. There's the right way to do things, and there's the wrong way. There's God's way, and then there's Satan's
give way and the get way.
There's the give way of life and the get way of life.
I wonder what way of the people on Wall Street
The get way.
live.
The devil's economics. How they live?
Today? Is it clear by now?
They live high on the hog on other people's money.
Ooh.
They're criminals that have never been incarcerated, never been tried and thrown in a hoosgow. They're
Snake oil salesman.
the worst kind of snake oil salesman. I heard there are more. There was another person in another part of the United States who is patterned after Bernard Madoff. They call him the Midwestern Bernard Madoff. I don't know why there's copycats out there. These are the ultimate criminals because they amass the greatest amount of money that they steal, and they try to get away with it until they get caught. But isn't it funny that they throw Bernard Madoff in prison, I guess, for life, but the Goldman Sachs boys they got off scot-free, didn't they?
They go on and on.
They go on and on. Funny how that works. I want to say, I want to have
friends in the government.
Yeah, if they got friends in the government, you mean in their back pocket?
Yeah.
And they're in their bed.
Yeah. Both Republicans and Democrats.
I want to have a brief moment of silence for the unfortunate, for the victims and their families of the recent tragedy in Colorado. What was that? Aurora, Colorado, by this young mastermind, demonic lunatic. Because only an evil person would shoot and kill innocent children, as well as adults, but children. And whether
he was on Vicodin, so he could be very calm when doing that.
He was medicated when he did it.
Yeah.
Could you imagine if he
took
wasn't?
Vicodin to calm himself.
So you can imagine if he wasn't medicated.
Now
he has booby traps in his apartment, of course.
We will probably find out, as with Columbine and the other ones,
Yeah.
that he was on some sort of psychotropic drug or something. That's usually the case.
Well, moment of silence. Okay. I want to salute my extremely fast-growing, successful group on Facebook titled Holistic Health Talk. Holistic Health Talk is, of course, on the air today, Saturdays, starting at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And it's growing very fast, which I'm proud to say. And, of course, with the radio show being on, and we have some videos. Of course, I have not done a video in quite some time. on Holistic Health Talk, but it is on the air on our radio station. So I just want to say hello and thank you to all of our great members, over 200 so far in a few weeks. Holistic Health Talk. Okay, and of course I have another group dedicated to Persian and Indian club swinging exercises called The Meal Ticket, spelled MEEL. So join it. You're free to join it. They are open groups. Okay, we will begin with the first article. Oh, never a dull moment in the end times in America.
Last week, my father, and I'm quoting an article here from Mr. Mitch Albom. Last week, my father, who is 83, suffered a medical emergency. At the hospital, he was asked this question: how many pills do you take?
Can you imagine?
His answer? Aspirin, Zocor, that's it. Days later, after he'd been prescribed a daily blood thinner, a blood pressure drug, and a stronger cholesterol drug, a therapist asked, how many pills do you take? He answered with the 3 new medications. Wow, he was told, you're doing great for your age. Both responses are telling. We live in an age of prescription, when anything and everything has a pill assigned to it. If you're not swallowing something, doctors are surprised. Did you know the average American fills 12 prescriptions a year?
12 as the average?
Our medicine cabinets are stocked with small brown bottles, from heartburn to heartache.
You know, this is from the ultimate drug dealer of all time, Big Pharma.
There is a pill you can pop.
For everything and anything.
And that's how the big drug companies want it.
The more you pop, the better they like it.
It's a huge business. Alessandra Rain said, and she should know, because at one point in her life, she took more than 100 pills a day.
As the nail sticketh between 2 stones, so does sin stick to buying and selling. I believe that's, what is that, Proverbs or Ecclesiastes?
Ecclesiastes 27:2, I think.
Yeah, Ecclesiastes.
The result of an injury and personal issues that led to one prescription after another. I took pills for insomnia, for anxiety, for sleep, for depression. She blames doctors. She blames herself. I wanted my pain handled instantly, she admits. And plenty of drugs promise to do that. Think about how many kids are already on attention deficit disorder medication.
Just get kids off sugar.
How many adults are on weight loss or sexual function pills?
Malnourished, nutritional deficiencies, obviously. They don't look at that, of course.
How many senior citizens have plastic dispensers labeled Monday through Sunday? Well, organize all their prescriptions.
I have one, but it has vitamins and minerals and herbal products. There's no drugs in there.
Nearly half of Americans older than 65 take 5 medications a day.
Wow. I have magnets behind my organizer. It goes right on the...
And a third of them will suffer adverse side effects.
In which they will get more medications for the symptoms of the side effects of the original medications.
Yet we keep on swallowing. America wasn't always a pill-popping nation. It used to be that if you had a problem, you saw a doctor. And if the doctor felt it was serious enough, he prescribed something.
Yeah.
Today, TV ads trumpet drugs straight at us.
That must have been when the United States was run by progressive liberals in Washington.
You're asked if you have a problem. You're told there's a way to deal with it.
Got more pills.
You see actors smiling in suggested healing. Next thing you know, you're asking your doctor for those pills. There's a reason. The pharmaceutical industry typically spends nearly twice as much on advertising as it does on research. It works.
The great big pharma racket, the ultimate racket, the biggest racket in the history of the United States, perhaps? Maybe the world.
Here's the mentality of our country now. If you have a problem, open a vial. Cholesterol rising, a pill for that. Can't sleep, a pill for that. Feeling blue, a pill for that. Never mind that these issues were once dealt with by diet, exercise, or facing the problem. Today's it's easier and better for the drug industry if you just ingest something. The HMO system has crushed us, who eventually told their doctors, enough, quit all her medications, and started a group called Point of Return to help others with drug dependence issues. Doctors today don't have time to figure out what's wrong. They just write a prescription. Of course they have motivation, as we learned in the recent humongous $3 billion, that's what it be, dollar judgment against GlaxoSmithKline.
Yeah.
It revealed that doctors were often enticed to prescribe drugs through perks and kickbacks. This, on top of the fact that Glaxo wrongfully marketed anti-depression medicine to teenagers. It's clear why the drug companies would push those limits. The younger you hook 'em, the longer you have 'em. Did you know only America and New Zealand even allow direct-to-consumer drug ads? Think about it. Why should average citizens be seeing ads for drugs? Shouldn't that be limited to physicians, who then determine whether they are appropriate? But the drug industry leapfrogs the process, counting on those in pain, in sadness, overweight, or overindulgent to head for the pharmacy. Who's watching the side effects? Who's checking for, especially when people take so many medications?
Is this why the advertisements are always talking about like everything has a syndrome? Everything imaginable has a syndrome
The
today.
DSM-4 has made up syndromes and diseases.
Yeah,
For
they're
instance,
not real diseases.
this show has a disease.
I know.
Okay?
Yeah, unfortunately, yeah. Unfortunately. It would be,
If you question authority, you have a disease.
yeah, what was that? Do you remember what that was called?
Yeah, it's a oppositional something disease.
Syndrome. Oppositional.
Authority oppositional disease, something like disorder.
Yeah, there's
something like that.
all these made up disorders, these syndromes.
AOD.
so they can match it with.
I got AOD.
I got AOD. So they can match it with a drug. You got a syndrome, a disorder. We got a drug for you. You get side effects from the drug. We have more drugs for you. Goes on and on and on. This is a good article, man.
And then there's this issue. What standards are being set for problematic? What level is truly too high for cholesterol? How long is too long for depression? What really determines ADD? The lower the bar, the faster the medications gets prescribed. And if you don't think the drug industry exerts pressure on those levels, you might want to take another pill for naivete. My hope is that my father is not on his pills for long. This may dismay certain doctors, but so be it. How many pills do you take? The answer ought to be, only as many as I need. Sadly, as our medicine cabinets prove, that is not always or even often the case.
I think this gentleman needs to listen to Gary Null and Dr. Julian Whitaker and people like that. Start getting some good books.
I would say.
Get some good books on nutrition, alternative
I would
medicine.
say because what was it? The two things his father had were a high cholesterol and what was the first one? Something simple. Aspirin. So obviously a blood thinner. All he needed for there was fish oils, vitamin E. That's it.
There you go. A garlic extract.
And for the high blood pressure.
Yeah, garlic.
Cholesterol, garlic. You got a whole bunch of protocols.
Of course, chromium picolinate would help a great deal with blood sugar, but you got to work with it. You can't eat garbage. But I was reading some articles lately that hemp oil has a tremendous potential, tremendous nutritional value above other oils, but it's hard to get hemp oil.
No kidding.
Hemp seeds, which can be eaten.
No kidding.
So if you don't have glaucoma in the United States, fat chance on getting hemp.
I wonder why. Would it have anything to do with reefer madness or something?
Yeah, it has to do with the same right-wing fundamentalists that created the prohibition way back when and made prostitution illegal and marijuana smoking illegal. The religious nuts we were talking about before at the beginning of the show.
Yeah, they like everything illegal except in business.
Yeah, what if you...
Then as long as you make a buck, we don't care how you did it.
The ends justify the means. Then they become like a Machiavelli, right?
Yeah.
See, if you're in business, you're allowed to steal. To a Republican, that's okay.
Yeah, because then it's caveat emptor.
Caveat emptor, yeah.
Yeah, buyer beware.
Buyer beware. An excuse,
Yeah, of course.
Just an excuse to steal if you're in business. It's what hypocrisy. But anyway, for people that don't know, this is me prop. It is a blackthorn imported Irish shillelagh weapons grade imported from Ireland. It helps me emphasize many things. I enjoy waving it around. For those of you that don't like my shillelagh or make fun of it, it has a very long history. Perhaps before medieval times, who knows? And you can simply stick it where the sun don't shine if you don't like my shillelagh. Now, I don't know if you can see this. This week, I am wearing. I don't even know if I get my foot up that high.
We got half of it.
Wait.
Half of it. Yeah,
Half of it?
Yeah.
My black pointy cowboy boots. I'll show you the belt buckle before when the show's over. I don't even know if I did. I bring my foot up that high? Really? I'm a little stiff.
Half of it.
Oh.
That's all we got.
Okay.
Half of the boot.
All right. Now, you want a break, or do you have a little one?
A chunk of ice, twice the size of Manhattan, has parted from Greenland's Petermann Glacier.
I heard about this.
a break researchers at the University of Delaware and the Canadian Ice Service attributed to warmer ocean temperatures.
Huge iceberg. Probably the largest that mankind has ever recorded, right?
The separation along Greenland's northwest coast, which took place on Monday, represents the second major calving event for the glacier in the past 3 years. In August 2010, Peterman lost an area of roughly 97 square miles, compared with the 46 square miles that split off this week. Andreas Munchau, associate professor of physical ocean science and engineering at the University of Delaware, said the glacier's end point is now at a location where it has not been for at least 150 years. The Greenland ice sheet is changing rapidly before our eyes, Munchau said, adding that while no individual glacier will be the canary in the coal mine, recent warming has transformed the overall ice sheet. The Greenland ice sheet is being reduced, not just in size, but in volume. The big and broader climate change story is what's happening all around Greenland.
I mean, the satellite images alone is evidence of
Not to
of
Republicans.
global warming. Well, what do they say about the satellite images?
They dismiss it.
But it's there.
They dismiss it. Hey, truth is not a perception.
Hey,
Perception is truth to Republicans.
that's like one episode when I was a kid. I was watching Mr. Magoo, and Mr. Magoo was looking. Ah, Charlie, you're the greatest butler I ever had, Charlie. Anyway, that was Jim Backus, right? He was looking through a window, and it was maternity ward. You know, there were babies in there. He thought they were rotisserie chickens because he was very nearsighted. No, actually, they were rotisserie chickens. I'm sorry. He thought it was a maternity ward. It was rotisserie chickens spinning around. And he was going, oh, how adorable, oh, how cute, oh, coochie coo. These are the Republicans. Normal people see the polar cap and the Greenland ice sheet shrinking from the satellite images. Normal, intelligent people listen to scientists about the holes, in the ozone layer and everything, all the other stuff that's going on. Republicans are like Mr. Magoo that thought he was looking at babies in incubators or whatever. I mean, in the maternity ward, they were rotisserie chickens. They're so short-sighted and myopic and stupid. You got to be downright stupid to dismiss the satellite images.
Ted Scambos, the lead scientist for the National Snow and Ice Data Center at the University of Colorado, said scientists will now be monitoring whether the glacier's flow rate will accelerate because of its loss of this chunk of ice at the front of it. It's going to take a while to understand how significant a loss this is. Peterman's flow accelerated 10 to 20% after the 2010 calving, Munchau said, adding, researchers were still waiting to see if that was a short-term increase or would persist over time. The polar researcher Jason Box at Ohio State University noted that the 2010 calving was the largest in the observational record for Greenland. He correctly predicted last summer, that the piece that just broke off about half the size, was on the brink. Box could not be reached for comment. Air temperatures in the region have warmed more than 4.5 degrees since 1987, a rate 5 times that of the rest of the world. But Munchausen cautioned against directly linking air temperatures to the glacier's behavior, noting it has a floating ice shelf.
Mm-hmm.
Air temperatures are not very important because 80% of the melting of this glacier takes place from below, in the ocean.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
Okay?
This is beyond an iceberg. This is considered a broken off glacier
For Greenland,
from Greenland.
a continent. Greenland is a continent, no?
How do they figure it's a continent if its inhabitants are it's not made up of countries or provinces or, I mean, it's just a big frozen island.
Well, that don't
right?
have nothing to do with continent. Continent, I mean, is just it's the land area.
You mean the size?
Yeah, it's the land.
So
Africa's a continent. North America's a continent.
so the medical term incontinence refer to people that are not from any particular continent.
Incontinence refers to when you lose your water.
Your bladder unloads.
Yeah, something on
So,
those.
where you do not want it to unload.
It's a calving of your ice shelf.
Yeah, your ice shelf. Yeah, I'm only kidding. I know what incontinence means. Okay, we will, not because of incontinence, but we will.
Could be.
Well, you know, it's a break. So when you're on your break, you do what you have to do. It is now time for the Reverend Dr. William J. Eisenman's gastronomic delight and possibly detoxification experience, known as lunch. And, excuse me. And then we will come back with promo and to continue with the show. Wow. The glacier, even with global warming, Dr. Bill, cannot really shrink that much before it collides with, let's say the United States. It's traveling south, right?
I don't know.
Yeah, well, whatever it hits, heaven help whatever it hits, because you're talking about twice the size of Manhattan.
Well, is Greenland in? Yeah, obviously, it's in the Atlantic Ocean. Right?
Yeah, the North Atlantic.
So it's got to be coming. Well, I don't know if it's coming south.
Can't go north because that's the Arctic Circle. It's got to go somewhere. It's got to go south towards Europe or south, directly south, or south towards the United States, which will be southwest. But southeast, southwest, or directly south. But
maybe it'll melt before it gets here.
Depending on how slow it travels. Yeah, but you're talking about a huge size block.
Size of Manhattan.
Size of Manhattan, man. Yeah, Dr. Bill, you mentioned that you got a package of goji berries with your order when you placed the order for the nuts. But I used to get, believe it or not, now,
It tastes like raisins.
I know the health food industry in the United States, which is a retail business, which is very sleazy. They're charging a fortune for the dehydrated goji berries, which taste like raisins or currants. And
They're red.
yeah, but they're red, of course. It's ancient Chinese fruit. I think the botanical name is lycium, something like that. But they're also called wolfberry. Extremely high in nutrition, antioxidants, vitamins, minerals. Very highly nutritious fruit. One of the top fruits of the world for nutritional density. A very high ORAC score too. Not as high as acai, but high nevertheless. Now, excuse me. They're charging a fortune, the health food industry, but I used to get a large bag of dehydrated goji berries at the Korean market called H Mart. I used to get it for like $2 and change. I was buying it for a while. All of a sudden, mysteriously, it stopped coming in. Then another company came in with a tiny bag of goji for like over $10 or something. Like it went from a large bag from Asia, from like $2 and change, to a small bag with American prices, with the health food price for the goji berries. So what this all means is, you know, they always blame it, oh, the supply and demand and blah, blah, blah. Bullshit. It's a game. They just flat out take the popularity of something and they just jack up the price and price gouge the consumer. There's no logical reason for it except for greed. They did it with flaxseed. You know, when I was back in the 1980s.
Carnosine.
When I used to, yes, resveratrol. Back in the 1980s.
CoQ10.
Well, CoQ10 came down in price from when it first came out. So did omega-3 fish oils. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, I mean, it did come down somewhat in price. But when I was in the 1980s, when I used to listen to the late, great Dr. Carlton Fredericks every day, every afternoon, he would call it, you know, linseed oil. That's what it is. You know, flaxseed oil was not called flaxseed oil, it was called linseed oil. Because they used it for...
And I used to paint with it.
Right. Right, or break in your baseball glove or something. But the point is, you can buy a bottle of, I think Hanes put it out, you know, at that time, we had mom and pop health food stores. We did not have GNCs and the Vitamin Shop and all this, you know. It was like $4 and change for a large bottle of linseed oil capsules, which, you know, when you open it, you should keep it in the refrigerator because it's an oil. In general, you should do that. But anyway, it was cheap in price. Then all of a sudden, all the scientific evidence came out from Europe, from Dr. Johanna Budwig, from Germany, and all the medicinal benefits of the linseed oil, you know, with the omega-3s, and which is alpha-linoleic acid, and powerful anti-cancer, anti-tumor abilities. So all the Johanna Budwig data came out. All of a sudden, it became flaxseed oil, and then the price skyrocketed. It was no longer $4 and change. It was high. Well, this is the same with the goji berries and with everything else. Like acai or acai berries, which is the fruit of the cabbage palm in South America, in Brazil. If you go to South America, I'm sure the acai berry is as cheap as buying a box of raisins. But then, you know, with the United States, you know, with all this friggin', I wanted to use another word, but with this damn marketing scam that goes on here with companies in the United States, they have to market everything to maximize profit, the bottom line. They
gouge you.
Huh?
Which means they gouge you.
They gouge you. They price gouge.
That's what that means. Maximize profit.
When the whole industry gets together behind closed doors and they say, gee, there's so many pros and there's really no cons to this food. Let's just jack up the price. It's so good for your health. Let's just jack it up to the high heavens, you know, and rip people off. And this is what they do in retail. This is what they do in all of America. So this whole Yankee Doodle Dandy flag waving, God bless America and all this stuff, it's all propaganda. It's bullshit.
Hey, I told you. Republicans. As long as you make a dollar, they love you. They don't care how.
Yeah. You know, for you historians out there, this is only for intelligent people to hear. If you studied and read, you know, the writings of Karl Marx and his partner, they were not bad men. They were not evil men. They just brought out the defects of capitalism. The truth. Didn't they speak the hard-hitting truth? Just like Dr. Wilhelm Reich spoke the truth, and he was ostracized because the Freudian people did not, because he went against some of Freud's theories, right? Somewhat.
That wasn't the reason they went after him.
Why did they go after Wilhelm Reich?
They went after him because he went against the FDA. Powers that be.
Powers that be. Now,
Yeah.
now Tesla, Nikola Tesla, was decades ahead of his time, but he did not become a household word. Like he did not get the recognition and the publicity that he deserved because he was such a brilliant man.
How about Rife?
Huh?
Rife.
But Edison did.
Found out of a Rife. Certain frequencies could kill cancer cells.
You hear this? But what about Thomas Edison? He got tons of nationally recognized publicity. Why? Because they can make a buck off the light bulb? Is that why Edison was like, you know, they named the town after him, and they, you know, he's like a superhero practically? Because he made a product that, you know, companies like General Electric and...
Well, the gas companies didn't like him too well.
The gas companies?
Yeah, 'cause everything was gaslight at that time.
Oh, the gas lights. How about that? So they probably gave him heat. No pun intended. They gave him heat just like the oil companies gave heat to anybody who was trying to push the electric car. Like,
Yeah, for what, 40 years?
and then you hear these idiot American lame brain middle class conservatives saying, "Oh, nothing will. I don't think anything will replace the internal combustion engine. No, there are too many bugs." That's all I heard. There are too many bugs.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mentioned a hydrogen car or ethanol. Too many bugs. Electric vehicles, too many bugs. Everything had too many bugs. He says, "Oh, no, number one, internal combustion." You freaking, these are cocksuckers of the oil companies, and there are many corporate ass kissers out there that are not necessarily wealthy. Many of them. You should be ashamed of yourselves. You have no backbone, no spine. Grow a spine. Bunch of pussies.
And they think they're religious, but they're actually irreligious.
They know nothing of the God of the Bible. Nothing.
But they sure want to make you into a nice person. They want to make laws for you that you should obey. As for themselves, they pick and choose the laws that they will obey, especially economic laws that come from the Bible. They don't like usury laws. They don't like.
Helping the poor, giving to the poor.
They don't like. Makes them lazy.
Yeah, but the Bible, God says for the rich to give to the poor. I've been doing a lot of exercise on my Shenna push-up board. My pectorales look in rare form. Anyway, they don't like. The Bible is loaded with messages of the rich helping and giving to the poor, but they ignore that.
Yeah.
They don't like that. What about Jesus himself told the wealthy man to sell all your worldly possessions, your wealth, give it to the poor, and then follow me. So
Yeah,
it's
but
loaded.
the man's God was his wealth, and therefore that was his focus of attention, and therefore he could never follow Jesus.
So you Republicans, do you still really think that God is a right-wing conservative? If you only read the Bible, you would see that it's loaded with information about the rich helping and giving to the poor, and that the wealth of the earth, the natural resources of the earth, belong to God. They do not belong to a corporation. They do not belong to any man.
I don't think ExxonMobil wants to hear that.
And they're supposed to be shared equally with the people of the world. Aha. But then again, they tell us progressive liberals that we're wicked and our souls are damned.
Communists,
Yeah, they say communists, socialists we're all wicked. But we have the most compassion. Well, they don't have any compassion. We're not racists or bigoted. You know, we don't bash gay people. We don't take away their rights. We don't treat women like they're second-class citizens, and are anti-female like Republicans are. So how could we be How could we be wicked?
demons,
How could we be demons if we
baby
have
killers.
so much compassion and believe in human rights and equality? Right, all that stuff. They think a fertilized egg is a human life.
Yep.
So what does that mean? Does that mean that if somebody masturbates, that
Oh yeah.
the sperm going into the tissue and going into the garbage pail is killing children too? Are they that crazy? If somebody starts waxing the old bishop,
You heard what Christine O'Donnell said?
oh, that slut.
Yeah.
She's really a slut.
No masturbation.
I mean, in her private life, when she was in college, Christine the Witch O'Donnell wanted to outlaw masturbation.
That's correct.
That's right. Okay, you're almost done with your lunch, and I will get on with promo. I usually get on with promo first, but we just got caught up in such invigorating, enlightening banter that I did not do it. I took my denim shirt off because I started to get warm. Just a little warm. Because the central air conditioning here is set by thermostat, and it goes on and off. So when it went off, I got warm. Now I'm chilly. Then if I put the shirt back on, I'll get warm again. Then I'll take it off and I'll get chilly again. Back and forth, back and forth, back and forth.
Chili today, hot tamale.
Here today, gone to Maui. That's the Hawaiian island Maui. That's even better. How's my ukulele sound?
Hey, where's Don Ho? Don Ho, you see Don Ho? Tiny bubbles.
Tiny bubbles. You know, Andrew Anderson says that I sound like a kazoo, that I do not sound like a ukulele. I don't sound like a kazoo. Doesn't it sound like a ukulele?
No.
Oh, screw you.
It sounds like a steel guitar.
Oh, okay.
Not a ukulele. Ukulele. Dinka 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 bunga dinka bunka banga bunga bang.
Now you sound Swedish.
Well, the Swedish chef is singing.
Ukulele or eucalyptus? Okay, we're we're comedians here, but we are also extremely serious. We blend things. If we just talk politics like two stuffy stiffs in a suit and tie and didn't crack a smile or didn't joke, we would be just like any other boring political show on cable TV. So, we're very real people here. Salt of the earth, pillar of society. Is that a pillar or pillow of society?
Salt and pepper.
Salt and pepper? Pillar, right? Or is it pillar of salt?
Pillow.
Pillow? Not
Pillar.
not that crook that's on the infomercial now called My Pillow. He wants like $80 for a friggin' pillow.
I have bought so many pillows
The guy with the mustache? What a joke. $80 for a fucking pillow?
in my life, and not one of them work.
Well, they all get
I'm
mushy.
sitting right now on a chair, of which the pillow, build up or whatever I got here ain't working.
My sister sleeps on goose down pillows. Have you ever tried a goose down pillow?
I need more food.
What about the Japanese pillow made of buckwheat
No
hulls?
crunchiness.
Yeah, I had one time. I couldn't sleep because every time I moved, I heard shh, shh, shh. Every time you move. I move a lot until I find my perfect spot. Shh, shh. Every time I move my head, shh, shh, shh. Because of the friggin' buckwheat hulls that are inside the pillow. I mean, it was comfortable if you stay still. Could you imagine a mattress made of the buckwheat hulls? It sound like a whole band of maracas in your bedroom, you know. This gentleman next to me is a self-portrait of the Reverend Dr. William J. Eisenman, because the Reverend Dr. William J. Eisenman is an excellent, outstanding, actually, watercolor and gouache. I pronounced it right this time. Gouache, which is a material. It is an opaque variation of watercolor paint. Opaque. Painter. Okay, you can see the William J. Eisenman collection by just going to Google and typing in the William J. Eisenman collection. And you'll see 99.9999% of all of his paintings in a slideshow to Caribbean steel drum music. Which I might drop because I'm sick and tired of YouTube's annoying third-party copyright infringement notices. Pisses me off. Fucking greedy lawyers, right? Anyway, if you see something you like, email him at newslettercensor.com. Ask him if the painting is still available, and if it is, you can procure it by sending him a hefty gift. The bidding usually starts at $500 each, but you know, work something out with him. Okay, and if you acquire a painting for a fair gift, you'll most likely get a free annual subscription to Newsletter Censored. But you gotta, you know, grease his palm well, because it's an original painting signed by William J. Eisenman. All right. Now, this is the foundation of our entire organization. Newsletter Censored. Get Newsletter Censored. Get your free annual subscription with your gift to support this work. Go to newslettercensored.com, click on the printable order form, and get the newsletter that started it all. This is the very best way to join our organization. This is the very best way to be a part of our organization. This is how you connect to us. Simply get your free annual subscription to Newsletter Censored with your gift to support this work. Okay, there is more information in the newsletter than there is on our talk shows or on our websites. Okay, you need Newsletter Censored to learn how to defeat a conservative. We are living in the end times. You need Newsletter Censored. Okay, you need it. So get it now. It contains, this is the new issue, volume number 120, titled Screwed, by William J. Eisenman, PhD. Sometimes it has tidbits if there's room. Then there's there's The God Project by William J. Eisenman, Doctor of Divinity, where the Reverend Dr. William J. Eisenman tells you what the Bible really has to say, not what zealot, right-wing fundamentalists, counterfeit Christians try to tell you what the Bible says.
Prosperity preachers.
Yeah, like Joel Osteen. There was an article about them, the Benny Hinns, the Joel Osteens, how phony they are.
Mm-hmm.
And then, last but not least, Only in the newsletter you will hear this. Sexuality, a Holistic Approach by William J. Eisenman, PhD. Okay? And there's just so much in here. It contains the 5 taboos of American life, which is politics, religion, health, human sexuality, and child rearing. So get it now. And when you go to newslettercensored.com, the link at the top is the link to our Mega Life 21 Hard-Hitting Truth Internet Talk radio station. And then you will also find at the Cyber Church of God. Well, you don't really have to go there. You can just go to Google and type in Censored or the God Project on Demand Archive Classics, and you could hear all of the past readings. You know, of course, the God Project is on the radio station every Sundays, starting at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and Health Talk, Holistic Health Talk is every Saturdays, starting at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And Newsletter Censored, The Real Truth, is on Thursdays and Fridays, starting at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Now, this week was special because we played Newsletter Censored Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, starting at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It ends about 11 p.m. Anyway, here is the patron saint of all Republicans, their hero, the icon, Ronald Reagan. Reaganomics, trickle-down economics that was never meant to work. And there you see Ronald Reagan urinating on America. Pissle-down economics is what it is. Pissle-down. All right, it's actually siphon up to the 1% economics. So this is part of the
and pee on the rest.
Pee on the rest. This is the part of the Republican propaganda. Okay, conservative propaganda, which is all a lie. Trickle-down economics, which they affectionately call Reaganomics. So forget it. This is part of the bullshit. There he is. Their hero, Ronald Reagan. That's it. All right, we're going to go back to, not the little grass shack, but we're going to go back to the articles. All right? So take it away.
A revolutionary discovery is rewriting the history of underwear.
What? Underwear?
Some 600 years ago, women wore bras.
Didn't they wear petticoats? Or they wore a lot of things.
The University of Innsbruck said that archaeologists found 4 linen bras dating from the Middle Ages in an Austrian castle.
What were they made out of? Some metallic?
Linen.
Metallic? Oh, linen.
Fashion experts describe the find as surprising because the bra had commonly been thought to be only a little more than 100 years old, as women abandoned the tight corset.
Oh, that must have been comfortable.
Instead, it appears the bra came first, followed by the corset,
Could you imagine how they felt in the summertime?
followed by the reinvented bra.
Oh, with the underwire?
One specimen in particular looks exactly like a modern brassiere. These are amazing finds. Although the linen garments were unearthed in 2008, they did not make news until now, says Beatrix Nuts, the archaeologist responsible for the discovery. Researching the items and carbon dating them to make sure they are genuine took some time. She delivered a lecture on them last year, but the information stayed within academic circles until a recent article in BBC History magazine. We didn't believe it ourselves, Nuts said. From what we knew, there was no such thing as a bra-like garments in the 15th century.
Interesting. I mean, not important to you know, the well-being of the nation or the world, but you know, not heavy duty, but a fascinating article, because, you know, there's always something new to learn. You know, there's always room for improvement, and there's always something new to learn, no matter how smart you are or how smart you think you are, you know, or how old you are. There's always something new. But I like the idea that you chose a heavy-duty health article as the first article. I like that, because then I get to post this show on Holistic Health Talk, and I have been getting a lot of people listening to and watching our show from Holistic Health Talk. So it's a good strategy to put the health articles first.
Do you have an old brain?
An old brain? My brain is as old as I am.
Do you know anyone else who does?
That has an old brain? What do you mean?
Chances are good that you do.
It's good to have an old brain? I thought old brains are like senile.
That's because brains start getting old right around the time you hit the big 3-0.
So then the supplements that are important for the brain should be taken at that time.
Yeah, 30.
Like DHA, lecithin granules perhaps?
Which is interesting, because in the last few years, whenever people have told me they were 30, or had just turned 30, or about to turn 30, I always said, you're just a baby. Why? Because when I was 30, that's what 50-something people said to me.
Yeah.
Of course, now I can be with an old brain. As with the other parts of your body, like your crumpled old pancreas and your corrugated old elbow, your brain undergoes physical and chemical changes as the decades go by. You lose neural circuits, your cortex thins, and various areas of your brain, like the calcarine sulcus, no, I have no idea what that is, begin losing density. Long story short, unless you work hard to strengthen your brain, it gets smaller and smaller.
Well, that must account for all the people that voted in a Republican Congress.
Yeah, but they already started out with a small brain.
Called nincompoop-itis.
Nincompoop brain.
Nincompoop syndrome. Or disorder.
Over the weekend, I tried to explain this to my father, who is almost 86, and has a brain that is probably the size of a walnut.
God.
We were sitting on his deck.
Well, a walnut does look like a brain. Have you ever cracked open a walnut shell? A half a shell, and seen the what the walnut looks like? Yeah. Continue.
You have a carpenter bean, I told my dad, as the bee disappeared into the underside of the deck's wooden rail. 40 years ago, Dad would have leapt up from his seat,
Right.
snapped into action with his bee spray and his bee gun, and what other bee-destroying merchandise they sell in the bee aisle at Lowe's.
Hey, the bees are endangered. What is he doing killing bees?
I don't think it was a bee. I think it was the yellow jacket.
They're probably hornets, yellow jackets.
You know, they get into the wood and
Yeah, and they're the ones that could sting you over and over.
yeah.
I was stung by a yellow jacket, and believe it or not, I saw the yellow jacket hover in midair, looking at
bomb
me,
at you.
and I saw his underbelly while he was hovered in midair. It looked just like a cartoon. he took his underbelly and pointed it and went under and pointed it towards me and rammed me with it. I swear, I was watching the Yellow Jacket as he did this. It was just like a cartoon. He nailed me. And I didn't go near the nest. I didn't try to swat it. I actually happened at a bank. You figure. But then again, I've been to barbecues where the Yellow Jacket just is curious, lands on my paper plate, lands on my arm, and then takes off. I ignore it and it goes away. But this bee at the bank, I'm sorry, this Yellow Jacket at the bank, for no reason, unprovoked, did this.
I don't care, he said. Yeah, I know, you don't care. That's because you have an old brain. I've been reading about this all week. Your brain has lost its plasticity and 40% of its neurofibrillary gobbledygook.
I think Barack Obama should use this when he debates Mitt Romney. He should tell him this.
Dad shrugged again as the bee flew off. He then squinted and asked,
"Oh gosh,
do they make honey?"
It's probably a Yellow Jacket.
I wasn't sure, so I said, nah. Although a few carpenter bees also do electrical work.
Well, this is a serious subject, and we will get into it when he finishes.
Anyway, I've been obsessed with this old brain stuff ever since I saw a report on one of the morning shows which said that socialization releases a chemical in the brain that makes it younger.
Well, if you don't lose it, if you don't use it, you lose it, right? Socialization?
The socialization issue is a huge problem for my parents and many other folks in their age group because people they used to socialize with aren't around anymore. Some moved.
Some are dead.
Some died. Others are now living with family members and no longer drive.
I think a great way for seniors to socialize, honestly, is to have somebody play old, like ballroom dancing, big band music, or 50s doo-wop, or depending on how old they are, and just have them dance with each other in a big hall. You know what I mean? I think that it'll be great exercise for them. It'll be fun. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, somehow you have to collect them together, though.
You got to get them there, yeah. I think they would enjoy it.
We never get company anymore, my mother has said. This is why for years I've been urging them to join a senior group. You'll meet new people, socialize. They have special events and day trips. But my mother has always said no. Those senior citizen groups are for old people, she said.
Well, what did they expect?
Weeks after she turned 80.
That's what she said? She turned 80 and she said those senior citizen groups are for old people?
Seriously, I don't think my mother is going to believe she's old until Willard Scott wishes her a happy birthday on the Today Show. I decided to try again, though, to change their minds last weekend, armed with all this new information about brains large and small. Granted, my mother does keep a lot busier than my father. She reads 2 newspapers a day, still does the crossword puzzle, and that's a very good start. But you still need regular socialization, because when you're around other people and talking and interacting with them, your brain produces all these beautiful, powerful chemicals that, I don't know what they do, but they keep you young. Then we should probably do it, Mom said. Later on, when I sat down with Dad, he was similarly agreeable. I could probably meet a nice younger woman there, he joked. Like maybe 78 or 79. In the interest of progress, I decided to play along. Dad, with your looks and charming personality, I'm sure picking up a hot 75-year-old would be no problem.
A hot 75-year-old. Well, my mother is 80, and she refuses to go to any senior citizen function. She says they depress her. The people there depress her.
Some of them obviously do because, you know.
You know, because my mother still has a youthful way of thinking. I mean, she listens to dance club music, disco and freestyle and everything. She doesn't listen to no Al Jolson or, you know what I mean? She don't listen to big band music. You know, she still thinks young. And she was the one that introduced me to holistic health and nutrition and exercise. You know, her and my late Uncle Frank on my grandmother's side of the family. And, you know.
Anyway,
back to the article.
That hot 75-year-old would probably have all her own teeth.
That's a plus.
Well, let's not ask for the moon. What about Mom, though? She won't mind. She told me she couldn't stand me anymore, and I didn't care what I did. Didn't care what I did. When was that? In 1958. 3 days after your brother was born. Still, that night over dinner, Dad seemed unusually attentive. So how about it, he asked, giving Mom a playful kiss. Want to join the senior center with me? She nodded and laughed. Can we go to the senior prom too? Old brains, young hearts.
Well, the fact that the human brain starts aging at 30 should cause many of you out there to wake up immediately based on that, and also with the unfortunate popularity of incidents of Alzheimer's disease, senile dementia, Alzheimer's, you know, being in the spotlight concerning health. Those two factors should really wake people up, and I would nourish the brain immediately, consume optimal amounts of omega-3 fatty acids that emphasize DHA, because that's the most important omega-3, especially for the brain. Lecithin granules and DHA omega-3, the lecithin granules.
Ginkgo?
Well, ginkgo biloba would be to increase circulation to the extremities of the body, all extremities.
Which is the brain.
Including men that have erectile dysfunction. Yes, the brain is an extremity. I've seen an older gentleman completely recover from Alzheimer's by taking a concentrate of noni fruit, South Pacific Island fruit juice, noni, every day. And there are other supplements that would help Alzheimer's, but the main thing is to feed the brain what it needs the most. And I guess what it needs the most is what it is composed of, right? Lecithin's important. Essential fatty acids are important, and particularly DHA. So you start with the basics for the brain, and then you move from there. Simple as that. If you really refuse to or can't afford the omega-3 capsules, I would eat Pacific Ocean sardines a few times a week. You know, eat a can of that, because Pacific Ocean sardines have a tremendous amount of omega-3 fatty acids in them. You know, I think Carlton Fredericks used to recommend such fish consumption, oily fish, at least 3 times per week. You know.
Live long and prosper.
That's Spock, right? See, I could do it.
May the force be with you.
I never liked Star Wars.
Bazinga.
What is that? Bazinga? Was that Klingon?
Whatever type of geek you are,
pencil neck geek.
Friday is your day. July 13th.
Oh, really?
We missed it.
Friday the 13th.
Is National Embrace Your Inner Geekness Day.
Well, we're guilty of that.
Which encourages geeks.
So somebody who is very much involved in computer let's say website design, networking, codes, JavaScript, HTML, science of all kinds, any deep spiritual studies. Would you consider that all part of geekiness?
It's a day for the geeks to celebrate their intelligence.
I guess we're guilty of it.
Or for non-geeks to honor a geek.
Yeah, except evil, greedy geeks like Bill Gates.
If it weren't for geeks, who would fix your computer?
Who would become scientists?
Or invent it in the first place?
Who would become college professors? Who would invent anything great?
Geek
Scientists.
used to be a negative term. But now being one is almost cool.
Well, because you're very creative and productive by means of your intelligence. Why should that be a bad thing? Now, if you act like a friggin' doofus, like the geek movies of the past,
Among the people we have to thank for that are Mark Zuckerberg,
that bastard.
creator of Facebook.
Yeah, you see the real pretty Asian girl he married? Oh yeah, she's. People say, oh, that's a real love relationship.
Steve Jobs, actually she's the runner of the company, I believe.
Excuse me?
She's the actual runner of the company.
She took over, huh?
She didn't take
She's
over.
the boss.
She's, that's where she was.
Facebook?
Yeah.
So she's responsible for all the annoying glitches on Facebook?
Well, I don't know who's responsible for that.
Whoever's
crap.
responsible for all the glitches, you deserve to get my shillelagh upside your head, brother. Fix the glitches. They're pissing me off and all my friends. Continue.
Steve Jobs, co-founder of Apple Inc.
Yeah, Mr. Outsourcing to China, to probably Foxconn.
And Google founders Sergey Brin and Larry Page.
Yeah.
Comic book heroes such as Spider-Man and the Avengers make big money at the movies, and the television show The Big Bang Theory has been nominated for a slew of Emmy Awards.
Right.
Lead actor is Jim Parsons, who has won 2.
Yes. Most famous geek.
Whether you are a Trekkie or a techie,
Or a techie.
get ready to party. Not sure how? Brush up on your geekness with our handy cheat sheet.
That should be a lovely sight. Seeing a big hall loaded with hundreds of geeks. Die.
Very funny.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna since geeks are really very important, I'm going to give a little celebration here for it's past now, July the 13th, National or Worldwide Geek Day. All right, to all the geeks who have contributed so much. Yippee! It's a New Year's Eve, my New Year's Eve 2012 noisemaker. Yippee for the geeks. All right.
Pluto!
First time, yeah. Oh, the planet? Oh, no, it used to be a planet.
May have been kicked out of the Planet Club,
Poor Pluto was demoted.
but it has gained yet another companion.
What do you mean? The moon?
Scientists announced on Wednesday the discovery of the smallest moon
How big is it? Size of a grapefruit?
yet around the icy orb, bringing the tally of known moons to 5.
Pluto has 5 moons?
That's what it says.
Really? I wonder how big they are.
We're not finished searching yet, said Hal Weaver of Johns Hopkins University, who thinks there may be more lurking.
When the moon is in the 7th house and Jupiter aligns with Mars.
The discovery was made by a team of scientists who used the Hubble Space Telescope.
So that Hubble is, didn't they remodel it? Didn't they upgrade the Hubble?
To scout out Pluto's neighborhood ahead of a NASA spacecraft that's scheduled to arrive in 2015.
Wow. So I guess that Hubble is definitely no trouble.
When the New Horizons craft launched in 2006, Pluto was a full-fledged planet, but has since been demoted to a dwarf planet status by the International Astronomical Union.
Now, why on earth would they create such a category as dwarf planet and not just leave it as our smallest planet in the Milky Way galaxy?
Politically correct, they're supposed to say little person planet.
Yeah, not dwarf. You're right. It's like saying, like, you can't say midget planet or dwarf planet. Little planet.
Little people.
You're right. This is discrimination against small planets. Hey, well, who's in charge of protecting people of such derogatory? Is it the ACLU? What agency usually comes?
I would imagine so.
Little planet is Pluto, not dwarf.
The newfound moon, known as P as in Peter 5, P5, until it gets a proper name, appeared as a faint fleck in the Hubble images.
Yeah.
Scientists estimated the mini-moon to be 6 to 15 miles across, smaller than the still nameless one that they spotted last year, which is 8 to 21 miles.
So it's like the size of a small Caribbean island, like a tiny island.
Pluto's largest moon, the 650-mile wide Charon, was discovered in 1978.
Aren't these just like asteroids that are orbiting Pluto? Are they actual moons?
Two smaller moons, Nix and Hydra, were found in 2005.
Let me guess, there's no water on Hydra.
The moons are thought to have formed after an ancient collision between Pluto and an object in the Kuiper Belt, a disk teeming with small bodies that lies beyond the orbit of Neptune. Since the launch of the New Horizons mission, scientists have been studying the Kuiper Belt in search of debris that might pose a danger to the spacecraft.
Really? So, this spacecraft, in attempting to orbit and land on Pluto?
I don't know if it's going to land. No, they got it from the Hubble telescope.
Oh, but are they sending an unmanned craft to Pluto?
Yes, there's a craft going around there.
Well, they landed on Mars. Why can't they land on Pluto?
Because Pluto is a little farther away than Mars.
So you have to wait longer.
You may be dead.
It takes that long to get to Pluto?
I don't think so. They sent one there in 2005, so... I mean, that's when they sent this guy.
Oh. Well,
So it's 7 years.
It should be reaching Pluto. I'm very fascinated with the
size of the universe?
No, with photographs and possible samples of Pluto. I mean, I don't know if this craft will make it back to Earth, but I'm sure it will gather a lot of information about the Milky Way galaxy's smallest planet. The next galaxy closest to our galaxy is the Andromeda galaxy, which is larger than the Milky Way galaxy. It's amazing. I have a picture of the Andromeda galaxy on my Facebook page. But for those of you that want to stop and say hi to yours truly, James P. Madonna, my Facebook page is Mega Life 21. It's that simple. Same thing with our YouTube channel. Same thing with our live stream channel. It's Mega Life 21. Same thing with our Mega Life 21 Music Memories, great classic music playlists on MySpace. Mega Life 21. So no matter how you shake it, we're very easy to find. And then we have a Facebook page called Newsletters Censored, but that used to be available for the public to see. But now the corporate individuals that control Facebook now have decided to only allow Facebook members to view the business promo page, which is not fair, because the purpose of the business promo page
is to reach a lot of people.
Is to maximize the amount of people you can reach. Not just people that have a Facebook profile, but I know what they're thinking. They want more people to have Facebook profiles so they could shove their damn advertisement at them on the right hand side of the page, the spam, so they can have you click on all these business ads. How sleazy capitalism is. It really is sleazy. Little tricks that they use, to obnoxiously force everything down your throat. From pumping up the volume of the commercials on TV to pop-up windows, fishing. Oh, you was trying to sing "Pump Up the Volume"? Pump up the volume, pump up the volume.
About 40 European rabbis are continuing an emergency meeting today in Berlin after a German court said circumcising children for religious reasons amounts to bodily harm even if parents agree to it.
Bodily harm? It's more like pickly harm.
The 3-day gathering that opened Tuesday is designed to map out a strategy to address a ruling by a district court in Cologne that has sparked condemnations from Jewish, Muslim, and Christian leaders. This decision is a frontal attack on Jewish life in Europe. We see this as part of a trend of mounting intolerance against religious practices in Europe. The ruling may spark political tension between Israel and Germany. An Israel parliamentary committee on Monday denounced the ruling after it met with Andreas Michaelis, the German ambassador to Israel. An estimated 6 million Jews died under the Nazis during the Holocaust in World War II. Germany, home to about 4 million Muslims and 110,000 Jews, is working to resolve the issue. Almost universal among Muslims and Jews, male circumcision is common in North America and most of West Africa because it is considered hygienic. The World Health Organization, which says male circumcision lowers the risk of acquiring the HIV virus by about 60%, says about 30% of males were circumcised as of 2006. The Cologne court on May 7 ruled male circumcision as bodily harm if carried out on a boy unable to give his consent because his body would be permanently and irreparably changed.
Hmm. So circumcision may have more cons than pros. So what is your take on this article? If circumcision is bad, it's bad.
I wouldn't comment on it.
What is your feeling on circumcision? Of what you've heard by sex experts.
All I know is, at 9 years of age,
Right.
when you circumcise someone at 9 years of age, it hurts!
No, so does getting a tattoo.
Ah,
I mean,
I don't want no stinking tattoo.
but I'm saying the reasons behind circumcision, do they
Well, they began as
outweigh
religious.
do the pros outweigh the cons?
The sign of circumcision was a sign between God and the ancient Israelites.
Period.
Yeah. Hygiene came in later
And
as
then
an excuse.
and then there are those that say they have more sexual
That part of it I
sensitivity.
do not believe.
About more sensitivity.
Yes, that's a bunch of baloney, as far as I can see.
Okay. Yeah, I don't understand how that would make sense, because
If anything, it would be more sensitive
the head of the penis,
because the prepuce is gone.
the knob, the doorknob, the top of that, the head of the penis, the schlong, the dick, whatever you want to call it, it's more exposed after the circumcision because the foreskin's not there. It looks like with the foreskin, I guess it looks like a hose of some sort. And I mean, it can be cleaner because
Well, of course, with the prepuce there, you got the buildup of smegma.
smegma.
Smegma,
What
yes.
the hell's smegma?
Garbage, debris.
Debris? Yeah, debris. Like the reason why your armpit is sweaty because there's no air circulation getting under there, so it's sweaty. Same thing with your balls, in your underpants, it gets sweaty under there. A woman's breasts, underneath her breasts, is sweaty. It's a excellent environment for fungi growth, yeast, whatever, mold or whatever, because it's a warm, anaerobic environment. It's warm, it's moist, and it lacks circulation. So therefore, sebum, sweat, dirt, sebaceous excretions, the Brevibacteria, which happens to be the bacteria that causes body odor, Brevi. Not only that, Brevibacteria is what makes the Limburger cheese, by the way. It's the same bacteria that causes body odor. Now, whether the Germans take smelly armpit residue and stick it in the cheese to make a Limburger, they don't do that. I don't want you to get the wrong idea. What do your opinion on Limburger cheese?
The article confirms what I have long felt. Governor Christie is not fit to serve as president or vice president of the United States.
He's unfit for political office, period, I guess.
The excuse given for his outburst was that he was with his children. Here was a perfect opportunity for him to teach his children about restraints. And he chose to show them that when someone insults you or asks you an unpleasant question, the way to react is with rage. This is hardly the reaction I would want from someone responsible for the peace and security of the nation. He seems unable to see beyond the moment. Take a deep breath. and respond thoughtfully to criticism, be it political
Ugh.
or personal. I grew up during the Cold War and can't even imagine the trouble we would have gotten into on an almost daily basis if our government had someone like Christie at the helm.
Could you picture Christie yelling at the Soviet Union?
If Khrushchev was banging his shoes, what the hell would Christie be banging?
Oh my God! Could you imagine Nikita Khrushchev and Chris Christie yelling at each other? The missiles would have been flying.
The thought is chilling.
Holy crap!
Governor Christie will not become the vice presidential candidate of the GOP, no matter how much the media plays up his chances.
Yeah, not with that behavior, he won't. And I think the media gives him coverage because he's such a unique, flamboyant character because of his temper tantrums.
There are a few reasons for this. Mitt Romney seems more of a docile person. And if Christie is the vice presidential candidate, no one will know who really is in charge. It may as well be Christie running the show and Romney taking his flack. It must not be forgotten that the GOP desperately wanted Christie to run for president, something he is likely to try to do in 2016.
I predict if Chris Christie does not win re-election for governor of New Jersey, that he will definitely not leave the world of politics. He seems to be extremely ambitious when it comes to politics and the conservative cause.
Christie comes with baggage.
No pun intended.
Those shouting matches he gets into seemingly every other day. Christie has also criticized Romney. For example, he told him to release his tax forms weeks before he wanted to.
That was sound advice.
4 years after Sarah Palin, 4 years after Sarah Palin.
Oh, Sarah Nailing Palin, the human slide whistle. Her voice is so annoying. Well, she's a political moron, but her voice is so annoying. Actually, Michelle Bachmann is another Looney Tune bitch. But Sarah Palin's voice, she's the human slide whistle. This is how she sounds. And then sometimes that's all I hear when Sarah Palin talks. All right, go ahead.
As the vice presidential nominee didn't work. I don't think the right is willing to bet that Christie will win them the executive branch. A Christie nomination would be an audacious decision on Romney's part. And audacious decisions are something Romney has typically shied away from. New Jersey fans should not get their hopes up. Even if Christie's nomination might win, Romney, a traditional blue state.
Blue state, as in Democrat.
Democrats. As in New Jersey.
New Jersey is still a traditionally blue state?
That's correct, even though some of us elected that dirigible.
So the dirigible,
The
Chris
dirigible.
Christie. Well, so was
New York.
traditionally New York, New England states,
And New York elected the dictator.
Minnesota. Remember back in the days of Hubert Humphrey and George McGovern, Minnesota was
Well,
traditionally.
now you got Frank and Bachman in
Yeah.
Minnesota.
That's true. What about was Wisconsin always traditionally a blue state?
Yes, yes.
So
But now they got Scott Walker.
So the traditional red states were always in the south and out west, where the southern
Strategy.
where the cultists,
Nixon.
Christian, the Baptists, you know, the Mormons and all the religious nuts.
All the counterfeit Christians.
Yeah, the religious nuts that follow more of a cult than the actual teachings of the Bible.
And still call themselves Christians.
The Looney Tunes that don't believe in stem cell research to help paralyzed people, handicapped, disabled people. No, they don't believe in stem cell research, and so on and so on. They're homophobic. They're anti-female.
Well,
they're anti-people of color.
You can cure PMS by praying. You can cure homosexuality by praying.
They don't like people of color unless the people of color work for them to landscape their mansions and clean their mansions and cook for them.
And toilets.
And toilets and work for less than minimum wage or as slaves. Oh, then they like immigrants of color. Yeah. The conservative elitists, the Republicans.
And the corporations love the 8.4 million
H-1B.
H-1B visas.
The workers' visa, where
that
they
come in here and take good jobs away from people here, and then work for half the wages that our people were making. They love it.
Well, they're not only taking away American jobs, but they're also exploiting and taking advantage of the immigrant professionals that come here with the H-1B visa. They're stiffing them.
Of course.
Like, for instance, when they did that show, I think it was 60 Minutes, a long time ago, about the, what is that famous IT institute in India? What is it? The India Institute of... They were bragging, Microsoft was bragging, oh, we're so impressed with the graduates from, the IT graduates from India that we sponsored them to work for, to Microsoft. Yeah, they're proud of it, all right, because they work probably for a fraction of what
they're proud of it.
American programmers and IT people work for.
Exactly.
That's why, but they don't. Of course, 60 Minutes Ass Kisser doesn't tell the truth about.
Because they are corporate owned too.
They don't tell the truth about why Microsoft likes H-1B programmers and IT people from India. Of course, corporate ass kissing. 60 Minutes, CBS, right? Channel 2 sponsors are corporations.
Correct.
It's not rocket science, people. We got to get behind a good, I don't think it'll happen, but hope a good, progressive, independent candidate who will not sell out. Of course, the two-party system sold you out. You know, you got the Blue Dog demo rats that sold you out, and then of course the Republicans. But Rethuglicans, but we gotta get the Rethuglicans out of Congress this November. Now, what is on the air besides my my show with Mr. Tom Mulvihill, the Beer Whisperer? We have a new show called The Food and Beer Whispers. It's on the internet.
I saw it last night.
We now have Stop the GOP, Greedy Old Party, Part 6. The countdown to November to remember, and that's on line now. Just go to Google and type it in. Stop the GOP, Greedy Old Party, OLE, Greedy Old Party, Part 6, and it'll come up.
Saw it last night on Facebook.
A very long and well, every Stop the GOP. It consists of a different series of banners, and this one had a lot of Romney bashing in it, but they're good. I mean, without a doubt, they're good. Did you ever catch the?
Saw the one with the little when he's on an island with the treasure chest.
Oh, that was a pisser. That came from Gary Null, I think. Did you see the one about the salaries of the drug company CEOs? And what they make? I had to post that one on Holistic Health Talk because it was, tied into, we do a lot of drug company bashing there. But it's incredible, man. Oh, God, it's incredible. How they suck it. You see what I mean by siphon up to the 1% economics? It never trickles down.
Yeah.
Siphon up. Anyway, thank you for joining us for Progressive Discussions. It has been very invigorating indeed. So what's going on here, Chief? What's the weather? Thank God got cool for this weekend. The heat wave is momentarily over, right?
Yeah, momentarily.
Here in northeastern New Jersey. Yeah, we had a horrible heat wave. Well, the whole country is in a bad drought and a heat wave.
That's correct.
Close to 100 degrees, but they still have
prices are going out of sight.
they still have 100 degrees plus in the rest of America. But watch what happens when produce skyrockets because of the drought. Guaranteed, even after the drought, if it does happen,
They will go down.
they won't go down. They'll use the drought of 2012 as an excuse not to lower the prices of produce.
That's correct.
Say so long to these people.
So long, people.